Blessed love and peace in Rastafari. This is essentially a Ramadan mukbang. How about that? And a recount of the past day. But the purpose of this joint is actually to share consideration about money, 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 money. Say me, say many, many. Money. Anyways, all right, so in the past day, well, actually, no. First, at this moment, I am partaking of a meal. It is before Fajr. Hydration is the first word that comes to mind is stipulation, but there's better words for that. But maybe it's too early, maybe it's too late, maybe it's just too tired for it right now for the poetries. Anyways, hydration is very important. The past day, many beautiful conversations, to be honest. Alhamdulillah, Baruch Hashem. Give thanks and praise. Hallelujah. Jai Om, Shisha, Mado. So I'll just give a brief recount of some of the anecdotes, the episodes, the topics. The day includes bus commuting, and in the bus commuting, many fantastic conversations. There's mention of Dr. York and Haile Selassie. We talk about Michael Jordan, LeBron, Muhammad Ali, the GOAT, what it means to be a GOAT, takes to be a GOAT, and all that. Talk about health, Dr. Sebi. Billy Graham is in the mix. So, shout out to Georgetown, Allen Iverson, and additional brethren. We talk about the importance of health, nutrition, what we consume, organic agriculture, economy off the grid, we talk about methodologies, examples, experience, principles. Some of the soundtrack from these conversations includes an original score, extemporaneous or extemporaneous remix or adaptations. So two of the joints are like this: from Kaaba Market to Farmer Jones, and on and on and on and on. So that's one joint. I'm just gonna hold for the applause. Fantastic. Cheers. Then the next one is all right, so it goes like this. Quitting's on his way, quitting's on his way, quitting's on his way with the RTA, and it's okay. Everything's okay. Again. Cheers. Then some other joints that are not original extemporaneous scores include, or adaptations and remixes, include Lift Every Voice and Sing Till Earth and Heaven Ring. That's one. Another one is Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. And another one is Salam Shalom Wolokota Shanti Hewa Mir Paz Wa Binamani. So now you know a wee bit further what we're working with. There it is, some of it. So we had those conversations, we had those songs, and this is a number of different brethren on a number of different occasions, on a number of different buses, because there was a considerable amount of commuting yesterday. My feet can tell the story too. Hallelujah. We're going to do it. The DVD is being active when it's unintended. So, all right, there's a actual point to this. It's not just jibber jabber banter. So that's some of the context of the conversations, the content of the conversations, the consciousness of the conversations, the quality of the conversations. Beautiful, actually, impressive amongst kinfolk. It's amazing, like not to sleep on fools, because like you look at somebody and like, okay, that's a person, beautiful, but then like you start talking with them and encourage enough trust for that person to respond and share. You're like, whoa, I was not expecting that. And it's not like sleep on people are like underestimated or disrespect, but it's just like, whoa, that was nice stuff right there. So that conversation, I have to think of how I shared this before. Yeah, I did share this on previous joint. So that conversation a couple weeks ago that I invite a brethren who responds by saying, "Don't talk, shut up, weird, stink, half breed, mulatto, blah 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 blah, not even black. Shut up, don't talk. Shut up, don't talk. Shut up, don't talk." That conversation that was intended about Michael Jordan and LeBron and Muhammad Ali and the consideration of GOAT is actually manifested numerously since then, on previous days before yesterday too. So again, all thanks and praise the Most High. And we have it again yesterday, and new things are learned, new things are discussed and shared. So it's a fountain of blessing, all thanks and praise. So that's part of the conversation that we have now. Amidst all this, we get into a discussion. Whoa. Before I get into this part of it, I'll say further parts of the day. It includes also some grateful acquisition of bok choy and discussion of Afro-Sino diplomacy and economic cooperation, and Afro-Sino-Euro economic cooperation and diplomacy, and fresh water breaking a fast, sitting underneath a kufiye, and downloading the 613 mitzvot to strengthen I studies and practice. Much work to be done on my personal salat and davening and samadhi and yoga, lightweight, serious. So, anyways, that's some of yesterday. Oh, again, we talk about Georgetown. Football. And additional blessings. Silver. So silver, on the silver tip, we go into back to the economics and the basic premise, point, purpose of this joint right here. Right here. As we talk about fasting, it is Elah at the moment. It is Ramadan. Pesach is arriving. Nowruz is arriving. We talk about fasts in recent days and in this past day. So that is helpful. We talk about the cleansing of the mind. We talk about the strengthening of the mind, the strengthening of the spirit that occurs through fasting, and particularly shared fasting. We talk about the sacredness of breaking bread, breaking fast together, and additionally. So, again, all things to praise of the Most High. And along those lines, and amidst this moment, as we prepare for another day, there is the consideration and the preparation and the intention of fasting from U.S. currency, monetary currency, for perhaps a month at least, thereabouts. Fasting from money, what? And the thing is, it's not the first time I do it voluntarily. I actually live without money, using money for a number of years, for a duration of number of years. It's not easy. It does require support from other kinfolk that may be perceived as burdensome or whatever else, but that's a very limited perspective or view of the totality of the benefits that are gleaned. If we just look at any type of fast, the benefits that are gleaned from that, again, cleansing, clearing of the mind, concentration, strength, body, mind, heart, and spirit. Same thing with money, particularly with money. So for myself, again, it's not a big deal. You have some food, basic residence secured, utilities for the month or whatever. All right, that's the basics right there. Transportation, got a couple bus passes. There it is, right there. No money for at least a month. So I mean, I don't have a bank account. I live very frugally, essentially, basically, generally. Anyway, so all right, but here's the thing with about money. Now, there are two basic points for this joint right here. And then we talk about black and white. We work on getting back to black and white. So the two joints is this. It's beneficial to recognize that money has a mind of its own. That's literally, money has a mind of its own. When we look at money, banking, and economics, monetary policy, means the laws and the government decisions that influence the utilization of the money that is issued by that government. That includes interest rates, lightweight inflation or inflationary policies. It includes printing, how much money is printed, circulation, policies, methodologies, regulations. It includes rules for banks holding money and utilizing money, taxation. It includes tariffs, restrictions on imports and exports, and that's getting a little bit beyond the bounds of money per se, but money is very much involved in those elements, particularly when it's a monetary cost concerning exports and imports. So all of these decisions, this monetary policy, and it significantly influences the behavior of the people. And not just the economic behavior in terms of purchases and sales and things like that, but the lifestyle, the day-to-day life decisions of people are significantly influenced by these monetary policies. How much money people have, what they expect to have, the trust within the economy, the stability, and additionally, and further. So these monetary policies are made by people, and that significantly influences the behavior of society. Now, those people who make those monetary policy decisions are bound together in a political compact, meaning they have an agreement that brings them together to have some authority to make these decisions as the government leadership. And that political compact, the U.S. Constitution, and additionally, is a set of laws, it's a set of principles and ideologies, religion. Even when it says it's not a religion, it's still a religion. It's a belief system. It's values, it's principles, it's prejudices and discrimination and hostilities. All of that is part of that political compact. So the people who are making these decisions have an oath, swear an oath and allegiance to this political compact of these ideas and principles and prejudices, hostilities, injustice. So, because the people are sworn to that compact, to that agreement, that contract, the decisions that the people make are made to continue those ideologies, those injustices, those discriminations, those ideas and principles within society. So when people utilize the money, as is the nature of economics and circulation, everything, when people are utilizing that money, people are practicing those ideologies and injustice and manifesting and putting it on other people. That's the nature. Now that might seem a little bit like much and further like abstract, whatever, but that's the actuality. Like people, they're not necessarily waving a flag and proclaiming it even intentionally or knowingly, but effectively, that's what people are doing, and it contributes to the culture around people, and it's money. It's done through the money, regardless of what people's actual beliefs are, and additionally, the fact that people are utilizing this currency that's based upon these ideas, the people are continuing those ideas, even when vehemently disagreeing with those ideas. They're still submitting and acquiescing and absorbing those ideas and imposing those ideas on others, because that's the nature of the money, and that's the nature of the cooperation and people accepting and forwarding the money. So money has a mind of its own, and it influences the people around who utilize the money. And we gain a better perspective of these conditions and of these influences when we keep a distance and get a little bit of that fasting and that cleanse and sober up a little bit and be like, yo, hold on, okay, interesting, okay. So that's one of the benefits. Now, I'm not saying money is evil. I did not say when at all money is evil. I'm not saying that at all. We always have to point at ourselves. So I'm not making that accusation. I do say injustice and discrimination, hostilities. There are obviously benefits involved within it as well. Um, it's a collective bag. So um, in that collective bag, there are a considerable amount of um, pains and unhealthiness for everybody, and that's one of the reasons why. Um, and it's not unique to the United States. The religious leaders are for I should not the religious leaders. I'll say the religious teachers, the prophetic teachers, our ancestors, prophets, and sages teach us about this. Jesus talks about this God and mammon. Um, Moshe Rabbeinu essentially leaves the economy of Egypt. And to be honest, the way money works today is somewhat different than how it works thousands of years ago, but it's still somewhat similar in terms of the principles. Um, so this ain't nothing new, and it ain't specific and unique and exclusive to the United States. It's just this is where I sit at the moment. So this is where it is. So that's one thing. Fasting from money. The reason and uh, the benefits that are gleaned from doing that. I mean, people would take it for what people want, and however it benefits kinfolk accordingly. Uh, so that's one of the joint. Now the second joint is we had a conversation on the bus about the experience of living in a space where money is unnecessary. Living for a space for a duration, a month or 2 months, a few months at least, where I don't even have to think about money. Like you got a place to stay, it's comfortable, it's safe, secure, and you got food. I don't have to worry about buying any food or going to the market, or at least paying for anything from the market. Um, don't have to worry about. I mean, you got a place to stay. You got kinfolk to socialize with regularly. It's not a matter of like having like fully experience culture, song, stories, um, breaking bread, and living a regular, fulfilling, enjoyable life in a space like a campus, a village, um, without having to worry about money at all. It's not even a thought. So we'll talk about that because I had that experience. I think about that in recent weeks and months. When I'm on the bus, I just talked with brethren on a call, and I'm reminded of the experience of living in places like Africa, um, and even in the shanty town. Well, on the bus today or in the past day, I asked the brethren if they have any experience of living in a space where they didn't have to think about or worry about money for at least a few months, or for a month or two, 3 months, not even think about money. And brothers was like, nah. And so that's unsurprising. But at the same time, it was interesting because the brethren who I asked it to has like considerable knowledge and impressive knowledge. When he responds, I think, okay, well, here, let's go. Let's talk about this. So I say, well, I do have that experience. Now, I actually have that experience in a number of very different situations. So the first one I mentioned is being a student at a university, university, HIU, Hampton University, particularly specifically. And this is a distinct, very sacred memory and recollection and vibe. But it's just being on the campus now. During those days, many of the students would complain, "Oh, it's boring. It ain't nothing to do." Da, 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 da. But that's exactly why the parents send the students to the campus because you're not gonna get in trouble as much. And it's a nice campus on the waterfront, additionally. But what I remember, particularly when I lived on campus for 3 of my 4 years there, um, is that one, on campus you have to worry about money. Now, again, as I was saying on the bus earlier today, this past day, it's paid for. I mean, it's not free. I mean, it was tuition and room and board and everything else like that. So, not deluded about Oh, you just anybody can do it. No, it was paid for. But the fact of it is that as a student at that moment, once it was paid for, I didn't have to worry about thinking about money. I didn't have to worry about thinking about buying groceries. I didn't have to worry about paying utilities. I didn't have to worry about paying rent. It was all paid up front at the beginning of the school year for me to be there and get my school student ID and my meal ticket and everything else like that. But once I have that, I can go to the cafeteria and get food. Didn't have to worry about that. I had to be there at the certain hours, and that was actually healthy because, usually it's not beneficial to eat late at night. In addition, fasting is another situation. But point is, I had food. I didn't have to worry about getting food. I had a place to stay. Had my dormitory. People complain about the dormitory is all people like and everything, but it's a place to stay. Generally safe, secure, comfortable. Even it's out. It's dry. Heating usually, blankets if you need be. So, anyways, place to stay, and I could do what I'm there to do. I can study. There's activities. Some of the activities might have cost money, but mostly go to student meetings. And additionally, we have a rich, fulfilling life and experience on campus without utilizing money at all. Not even thinking about money, and that is so rich. It is have a clear mind to think about priorities, about sovereignty within oneself when one is inclined and such. So it frees the mind so much to think about the things that are of greater essence within life. So that's one thing that I appreciate experiencing. If I was away, like didn't when I was on campus, I didn't go off campus too tough. But whenever I was off campus, all I know is that once I get back on campus, there it is. I can be on campus for the next month, 2 months, and I don't have to worry about money at all. And I lived like that, particularly freshman year. Didn't have money too tough. And didn't have to worry about it too tough. We can complain about it when people get their pizza and everything else. Oh, I wish I had a pizza. And when we get $10, we feel rich. Oh, I can go to the vending machine now. Oh, da. And that's another story. But anyways, life is fulfilling when not having to think about money in that respect. And it's when I'm talking about not thinking about money, I'm not talking about like having like big bank and you can just spend money all you want, because that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about no money, out the door, and not even all those ideas and all those prejudices and injustices. Step off. Clearness. What is our currency? What is our value? What do we invest ourselves within this life? Let's chop that up. I'm gonna leave it at that. So anyways, you get the point. There's a truth beyond the words. How about that? I rely upon that significantly. So that was experience. Now that's one example of a space that I live in for an extended duration where I didn't have to worry about money. Another example that I shared was what I was about to say again. It was being in the shantytowns. Now, my duration of residence in the shantytown is comparatively brief, but it's enough to see the culture where kinfolk don't have ready income, and additionally, and don't have to have money. Too tough to do what is essential. Again, having a place to stay, food, gather with kinfolk. People might not be on that mindset intentionally, and might be trying to do a grind or whatever to get some money. But in actuality, like there's an infrastructure of cooperation in many ways. I'm not trying to glorify it or otherwise, but there is an infrastructure of cooperation, particularly in the bush and additionally in rural villages where people talk about people living on less than $1 a day, and that sounds terrible, and it's unfathomable for people in Western society today to think about that. And okay, we have to do something such poverty. And yes, there is comparatively material modesty within places in Africa, and additionally, And yes, there is a considerable need. There are things like famines and other things, but at the same time, there's also a richness of independence and autonomy from conventional monetary currency at all. Because get cats living in a village don't need to worry about paying rent. Don't have to worry about utilities. Just we utilize what's around. Food, yo, we got crops. We grow food on our land. We have a water source. So education. Now we get further into the politics and everything else like that. But point is, there's an independence that is gleaned, and so money is not the end all to be all. And this is not a dig. Again, money is not evil, and money is a medium of exchange and it provides benefits in terms of economic interaction. But it's beneficial to keep it in perspective, um, and to focus on further priorities. So that's another example of that experience of being in a space where money is one is able to live for durations without thinking about money. Another example that I shared was being in lockup. How about that? In jail, in prison, in the halfway house. Don't have to worry about money too tough. It ain't. I would not recommend it, and I don't wish that on kinfolk. But again, that is one thing. Don't have to worry about money. Um, so there is that experience. That's probably the furthest. Well, no, I've had further, at least to this date. I still have had further experience at university, particularly happy, and that was undergrad because graduate school is a little bit different. Or at least my graduate school experience is different because um, I didn't live on campus on in my grad school experiences. So there was the necessity of money in very pragmatic day to day type of conditions. But to be honest, actually, what I do also remember is when I was working in my one job, formal job, conventional 9 to 5 jobs. That's kind of sort of. When I was working at Amnesty International full time before law school, between business school and law school, there was a period like I wasn't getting paid that much, and when I did, it got spent up. So there were occasions when I didn't have money for like perhaps like a week or 2 weeks, and I lived for a week or two with literally no money, not a dollar. So one thing I learned, break out the bicycle. How about that? How am I gonna get to work? Bicycle, and I have to like fend off the vehicles that have the tendency of making collisions. So that's what I did. Broke out the bicycle. Don't have to pay for the metro. Don't have to pay for the bus. Don't have to pay for petrol. Bicycle, and it was a nice little commute in the rain. And additionally, but job done. Food. I had a store of food. So there's that. Rent was paid for that month. I was staying in a room, renting a room from some cistern. So it was comparatively congenial circumstances. So those the basics were covered already. And but just the additional things, living a week or two without money, get it done. So anyways, those are some examples. And again, the richness now is getting lighter. So I better hurry up. All right. Um, get about, get about. Um, so what I share with the kinfolk on the bus are those experiences and the benefit of living as a village, as a campus of people, where um, there's apartment residences, there's a eating facility, a cafeteria, even where the kinfolk, the residents, are able to break bread and have food. There's a school, there's a health clinic, all on the campus. So I mean, and then recreational facilities, and additionally, um, where the those are like that's the tangible. That's the like the infrastructure, the basics. Now, the rules for the village can vary from village to village about what the requirements are to stay there, what contributions, whether people pay 50% of their income or whatever to cover all the costs or whatever. I mean, there are all different types of ways of doing that, but one of the considerations is such that when people are in the campus, when people are in the village, not having to worry about money, um, whatever the rental arrangements are, the more uh, the equity policies are in terms of having a residence, whether it's a rent or purchase or whatever else, those being discerned accordingly. But the other additional things in terms of again, food, healthcare, schooling, and just like the basic needs from day to day being arranged whereas there's no money, so you don't have to worry about money. You don't have to think about money or whatever else whilst on the campus, whilst in the village. And again, the freeing of the mind that comes with that experience. It's priceless, and you saw that coming. So, anyways, um, there's that. Um, so now we proceed with the wrap up here. Um, Black and white. There is this notion of uh, one family tree of Earth, of world civilization, one family tree. That tree rooted within the realm of the equator and branching into the reaches of the polarities. It's all one tree. And the vast extensions of the tree, from root to branch, are all valuable, essential, necessary, needed, and interdependent. Rely upon each other, need each other. So it's beneficial to recognize that. And the spectrum from black to white and back and forth and all around, all are included within the tree. Within our different traditions, there's different elements of colorism, of valuing and devaluing others because of being too light or being too dark, one way or the other. Being too middle, how about that? Um, as I sit here amidst the preparation for another day of fasting, there's the consideration of some of the teachings and wisdom that I gained from the Quran. Amidst the challenges of the raisin head and the silly ant and the implications of coloration in those protestations. They're also very significant and beneficial teachings and guidance concerning the value of both the light and the darkness. The light providing awakening and activity, the darkness providing repose, rest, refuge, and the value existing in both, appreciating the nature of each and the gifts that each provide, recognizing that the excess of either one causes suffering. So we find our balance amidst the fluctuation, the yin and the yang. And one of the specific guidances within Ramadan is the consideration of being able to distinguish between a black and white thread, to discern when to fast and when fast can be broken. The guidance is that when it becomes light enough in the sky so that one can tell the distinction between a black thread and a white thread, that lets one know that it is daylight and it is the time for fasting. And when the sky begins to darken, again, when it becomes dark enough so that the distinction between black and white is covered, then it is the moment for breaking fast. So that notion, when one can tell the difference between black and white, stop eating. When one is beyond the difference of black and white, start eating. With that said, all thanks and praise is the Most High. Blessed love and peace.